So my son likes playing these hypothetical question games, like if somebody were to give me a $50,000 watch that I couldn't sell or trade for, which one would it be? Or if I could only keep one watch out of my entire collection, which one would I keep? So it got me to thinking, if I could only keep 5 spring fragrances within my collection, which ones would I keep? Now this was nerve-wracking, a bit stressful. In fact, my wife had to remind me that I'm not actually giving these fragrances away because I have hundreds of spring fragrances. So to make this a little bit easier for me, I broke it down into a few categories. One, it had to be a fragrance that I actually enjoyed how it smelled. So regardless of the compliment factor, if I myself didn't like it, I took it off the list. 2, the performance needs to be good to decent. I don't need 8 hours of performance with every fragrance that I own. I can just respray, especially at some of the price points I'm gonna go over with you today. And 3, they have to be compliment beasts. That when I wear these, at least one person throughout the day either asks me what I'm wearing or compliments what fragrance I have on today. But what I also did is I picked fragrances that fly under the radar. I don't like smelling like everybody else. So I picked fragrances that aren't hype beasts all over social media. You're not gonna see Blue de Chanel, you're not gonna see Creed's Aventus. You might recognize a few of them, but by and large, they're the ones that fly under the radar, that are hidden gems, and are huge compliment getters. But before we get into the list, I have a huge favor to ask. At the time of making this video, 88% of you that are watching my channel aren't subscribed. If I can please ask for you to subscribe, share, like these videos, it'll really help the algorithm put us out there so we can continue growing and bringing you quality content. For those of you already subscribed, I really appreciate it. For those of you not subscribed and aren't willing to subscribe, I will hunt you down. I will find you and ask you in person if you can just please subscribe. Now let's jump into the list. Now the first one I'm gonna go over with you was my signature scent from 2024. And it's from the house of Afnan, Turathi Blue. Now this is classified as an aquatic aromatic fragrance. Now this is a clone and inspired of one of my favorite fragrances, Bulgari Tiger. The difference is that Bulgari Tiger is a $400 bottle, whereas this one you can pick it up for about 40 bucks. Now the opening in the two are very similar. You're gonna open up with some citruses, primarily grapefruit. But the grapefruit in Turathi Blue is a little bit different. It has a sweetness to it. Picture the sweetness of a grapefruit champagne where it fizzles a little bit. That's what you're gonna get more from this. In the middle, you're gonna start getting some sweetness from the amber and some woodsy notes as well. And in the base is where this one really shines with the musk, the spices, and the patchouli. It is a very seductive, sexy scent. And like I said, this was my signature scent from 2024. It's an EDP concentration. I get about 8+ hours out of this thing. You can pick this up for about 40 bucks. Now the second one I want to go over with you is for that distinguished gentleman. And it's from the house of Michael Malul, the Esquire edition, Modern Poet. Now this one is listed as a citrus aromatic. It's a beautiful scent. It screams spring. Now as in your spring fragrances, it opens up with a lot of citruses. You're gonna get your grapefruit and your lemon, but it also opens up with some gin. Picture that first sip of your gin and tonic with a little lemon squeeze. Then the sweetness starts pushing through in the middle notes with the cardamom and that matcha tea and the geranium. But then the masculinity of this fragrance really pushes through in the base notes. In the base, you're gonna start getting the moss, the woodsy notes, the vetiver, and the patchouli. This is a beautiful fragrance. It has a lot of stages to it. You just have to give it time to evolve throughout the day. I highly recommend this one. This was an EDP concentration. I will tell you, this is one of my more expensive ones. This is about $130 online. You might get lucky at one of your local discounters in the mall and you can pick it up for about 100 bucks. And it is a great performer. I get 8 to 10 hours out of this one. Now the third one took me completely by surprise. It is very, very rare that I ever do a blind buy, but I was walking around Burlington looking for a different fragrance when I came across this one and it had an $18 sale tag. So I looked up the notes, looked at the reviews, and I thought, what the heck, let me give it a try for 18 bucks, and that's what I picked this one up for. And it is from the designer Camuto, Virtu. Now this one is listed as a leather fragrance. I don't get leather out of this. If any of you know Santal 33, that is what this is most likened to. Now from the opening, you're gonna get some sweetness from the cardamom and a little bit of spiciness from the pepper. Then in the middle notes, you're gonna start getting some birch, some vetiver, and moss. But then this one takes a really nice masculine turn, and through the base notes is when you start getting the musk and the sandalwood. And even though leather is listed on this, I don't get leather out of this. Again, the closest thing I would tell you this smells like is Santal 33. Do not pay more than $20 for this. If you're walking around Burlington and you see this, pick it up. It's a huge compliment getter. I usually use this one for work because it's non-offensive. It's kind of a light, subtle, nice smell. And what I do for a living, I'm with patients and I don't want to wear anything too overbearing for them. And I am frequently asked at least one time a day, what is it that I have on? And they compliment this fragrance. I highly recommend it. It's an EDT concentration, but I get 6+ hours out of this thing. And because of the price, I'll just respray. Now my last two are some new additions to my collection. I actually came across this at a patient's house and her husband had a collection of fragrances I was really impressed by. And I hadn't smelled this one. So I asked, do you mind if I spray this on a little strip? Yes, I carry around little strips. Not really, it was one of my business cards. I sprayed a little bit on a card. When I left that house, this one smelled beautiful and it evolved very quickly from the time that I sprayed it, from the time that I got into the car. And it's from Carolina Herrera, Bad Boy Colbalt, Eleqtrique. This one really took me by surprise. It doesn't get a lot of love over social media. Now it doesn't get much hate, but I don't see anyone blasting this all over social media. So guys, this is a hidden gem. And even though it's from the house of Carolina Herrera, and you usually can't go wrong with one of her fragrances, this one, for some reason, flies under the radar. It is a really good scent. Now, it's listed as a woody aromatic fragrance, but for me, you don't really get any of that until the very base of the fragrance, hours into wearing this. Now, when it opens up, you're gonna get that lavender and a little bit of spiciness from the pink pepper, but very quickly, you're gonna start getting some sweetness from the plum and the geranium in the middle notes. And then this one evolves into a more masculine smell with some woodsy notes and a hint of sweetness from the truffle. This one is a great date night fragrance. I wouldn't really recommend this one for during the day. This is more gonna be date night. It's an EDP concentration, great performer. I get 8+ hours out of this thing. Do not pay more than $80 for this one online somewhere. If you go to a retail store like Macy's, you're gonna pay well over 120, 40 bucks, but you can pick this up for about $80. The last one is my new signature scent for spring of 2025. And this is one of those fragrances that remind you of why you started collecting. Remind you how fun it is to find hidden gems that aren't talked about frequently. And I'm kind of mad at myself that I barely discovered this one because it's been around since 2013. And it's from the house of Givenchy, Gentlemen Only. Guys, I just picked this up this last week and I got to wear this last night for my date night for my anniversary dinner with my wife. As soon as I sprayed this on, she was already getting ready, walking through the house. So when I walked by her, stopped me and asked me, what do you have on? One, because she hadn't smelled it before, but two, it is very captivating. Let me go over the notes with you. Now, there is some citrus in the opening, but that's not what blasts through at first. But let me tell you what they are. So the citruses are going to be bergamot and mandarin, but very quickly you're going to smell the pink pepper and some spiciness from the nutmeg. Then in the middle notes, you're going to start getting the vetiver, the cedar, and the patchouli. And in the base is where this one really shines through because there's some smokiness to this with the incense. This is one of those other ones that just does not get a lot of love over social media, but those who do review this, you will not find anyone that dislikes this or that talks bad about it. It smells great. It just flies under the radar. It's an EDT concentration. Wore it last night, put it on at about 5 o'clock, midnight, 1 a.m., becoming a skin scent, still on me, still pushing through. Do not pay more than $50 for this thing. Do not buy this from one of the discounters in the mall. They're gonna charge you $103. You should not pay more than 50 bucks for this thing. All right, guys, that's my list. I'm curious to hear from you guys to see which ones surprised you, which ones you agree with, which ones you completely don't agree with. But I'd love to hear what your 5 top fragrances are for the spring and which ones you would keep. If my son asked you that stressful question and asked you which ones would you keep. Thank you so much, guys. And as always, see you in the next one.